It's a 59. A 1959 Gibson ES-355 T, and it's mono output. No stereo, no baritone. A crazy, crazy clean guitar, very nicely preserved. You know it's a 59 as soon as you pick it up. The perfect neck profile. It's kind of medium fat, not clubby, not kind of baseball bat like the early 1950s, early to mid 1950s. It's great. And the 355s slimmed down a little earlier than the 335s, so you don't always get that fat neck profile on a early-ish 355. So yeah, there are 3 different models in the 3X5 series, 335, 45, 55. The 335 is always mono, 99.9% of the time. There's a couple out there, special order with stereo. 345 is 100% of the time stereo. I've never seen a single mono 345. It came out, the 345 is actually the last one to debut. So it was 335, 58, 355, early 59 or late 58. And then later in 59, the 345 with stereo baritone. So then they went back and offered a lot of these 355s with stereo baritone. So that would be TDSV. But this one is an ES-355T. So the mono version of the 355, to me, the king of the lineup of the 3X5 series. It's all the good stuff of the 335 and all the cool fancy upgrades like inlays and binding and that beautiful watermelon cherry red finish. But if you looked at a lot of 59 355s, then you're looking at this one thinking, why does this have a side pull? And when I was flying out to Davenport, Iowa to buy this guitar, I fully expected to find some holes underneath this tailpiece from whatever was on there originally. I figured it had a Bigsby, but I didn't, and I'll tell you more about that in just a bit. But yeah, I'm thrilled to have this one. I flew out to Davenport, Iowa to meet with the son of its second owner. He got it in, or maybe it was second, who knows. He got it in the early 1970s, and his family has had it since then. So his dad had passed away a decade or so ago, and they held on to it for a long time. He enjoyed playing it, sparingly, of course, but then just decided it was time to sell. So I was happy he gave me a call, and I'm stoked to have it. It's just such a rare opportunity to get a mono 355, but then just to get the, perfect neck profile 59s with the watermelon cherry red, just impossible to find. So happy to have this one. So completely original inside and out, no modifications, no repairs. The only thing that I found that someone did on this guitar is they had previously removed the covers. So there was no extra solder on the covers. In fact, they were just the solder was just kind of chopped through and the covers were just sitting there. So we just kind of lightly soldered them back on just so they're not falling off or rattling around or anything like that. But they were completely undisturbed underneath. So in-phase guitar, great sounding pickups. You can read the readings on the listing. There's a link below if you want to check it out. Beautiful sounding guitar. Riggs is going to come play it for us in just a bit. But here's the deal with the tailpiece. I reached out to my friend at Gibson who has access to the ledgers. And I said, hey man, I just picked up this guitar and I looked underneath and there are no extra holes from a Bigsby on this guitar, but it has an A29 series serial number. So that's kind of like an early to mid 59 serial number. Why does this guitar have a side pull? I would expect that to be, not until 1960 or so. Typically you see very few with stop tail, and most of the time they have the Bigsby B-7. So I fully expected to find extra holes, but there are none. Here's a picture underneath the tailpiece. I took it off and I laid the tailpiece next to it because I saw 3 scratches underneath. And if you line up the scratches with the underside of this tailpiece, you can see that the scratches are from the bottom of this tailpiece. Then when I looked at the butt end of the guitar, I could see 2 sets of holes, but the same pattern. So this is not a Bigsby pattern. A Bigsby would not have fit in this hole pattern. In fact, what I think they did is they originally mounted this one a little lower on the body, which is how those scratches happen. And then they realized, oh, well, we need to mount it a little bit higher on the body so it's not contacting the top. So that's what those screws are for, and that's what those holes are for. And you can even see the lower set of holes is like half plugged. It has some like buffing compound in there. So I reached out to my friend Gibson, or my friend at Gibson, and said, hey, is there any way we can get the shipment ledger on this guitar? Because this might be This is the lowest serial side pull guitar I've ever seen. So we'd probably like to know when this shipped, you know. So he reached back out to me. He sent me this page, and here's the serial number. It is A29682, and you can see that the date down below it is April 23rd, 1959. So this one shipped April 22nd, 1959, with this tailpiece. There's no extra holes from another one, so it couldn't have had anything else. Could not have had a stop tail, because there would have been big holes here. Could not have had a Bigsby, because they would have had big holes here, and a different screw pattern. So we know it shipped with a side pull, and likely to be this one, because if you look at this one, the plating is a little bit different than you see on most of the other kind of Gibson gold-plated parts. So my friend at Gibson said it's the earliest side pull he's ever seen as well, and that he actually had the scans of the original drawings of the side pull. I said, great, let's check those out. What's the date on those drawings? You know, if it's after April 22nd, then we've got to go back to the drawing board and figure something out. So he pulls them up. Here's a scan of the original drawings of the Gibson Deluxe Vibrola, what we call the side pull. And they're just dated 1959. So we don't have an actual date, but you know, it had to be before April 22nd because this one has no other holes. And I asked him about the plating too. You know, we took the cover off to inspect the structure of this side pull just to make sure, you know, is this some kind of reissue or some kind of replaced tailpiece? And it's not. This is 100% a vintage side pull, a very special piece. And then if you look at the scan of the side pull, the original drawings of the side pull, they're actually done in the ES style side pull. And you can see it's just a slightly different structure than the side pull meant for the SG guitars, because those are flat. You can see the arm is different. The piece on the end of the tailpiece is thinner on those because they actually mount to the top of the guitar, not the side. So this may be the earliest known Gibson guitar shipped with the Gibson Deluxe Vibrola or the side pull. If it's not, I'd love to see some earlier examples. It's the earliest one I've ever seen. So if you find some evidence of an earlier one than A29682, drop me a comment below. I'd love to check it out. What I thought was interesting about the shipment ledger is that it doesn't mention this tailpiece. So that seems to be an indication that this may not be the earliest, but who knows. Anyway, as far as playability, stellar, top-notch, one of the best playing ESs I've ever had. Factory wide frets are in great shape, no dents and that sort of thing. Straight neck, just everything is a green light on this guitar. It is so beautiful. Clean everywhere, little bit of scratching here. Whatever, somebody's belt buckle or something. I didn't mind it too much. Has a little bit of buffing compound in there or something like that, but not from us, that was there. We just left it. But I was also excited to see, of course it's got the original case, but it has the case cover. And only the fanciest top of the line Gibson's got the case cover, because the cases were already kind of expensive, and then the covers were just an extra expense on top. So they didn't want to scratch they didn't want to scratch your case as you're, loading it in and out of gigs. So you've got the case cover. So anyway, called in Riggs to play it for us. Show us how it sounds. So that's the 59 Gibson ES-355 T. Man, that beautiful kind of light cherry red, watermelon finish. A perfect 59 specimen with all the cool stuff, and possibly the earliest known side pull guitar. Who knows? Maybe we'll find that out in the future. But my name is John. My shop's called True Vintage Guitar. We're here in Birmingham, Alabama. If you want to check out this guitar, we'd love to have you check out the listing. We got pictures of everything inside and out, measurements, weight, everything. There's going to be a link below down in the description. This is the kind of stuff we like. So if you've got a 59 or close Mono ES-355, might be one I'm looking for. You can reach out to me at the link below as well. I'd love to take a look at it. If I'm not the buyer for it, I might be able to connect you with someone that might be interested. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you like watching videos on vintage guitars, we're doing about 2 a week. We've got great stuff coming up. About to do one of this 1960 Fender Telecaster Custom. So go ahead and hit subscribe now. Thank you so much. We'd love to have you guys here. I'm glad that you guys like to talk about vintage guitars as much as I do. So leave me a comment. Thanks for watching.